Hi everyone, Steven from WWPD here. If you've spent any time on our forums recently, you probably know that we've been completely smitten by the new X-Wing game put out by Fantasy Flight. We think it's a ton of fun, and we've really enjoyed playing it here. So what I'm going to do today is just take a look at the box contents. I think you get a lot of bang for your buck with this box. It's a pretty small box, comes with 3 pre-painted miniatures that they display on that nice little window there. You know, I have to say the miniatures are painted pretty darn well. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about rules here, because frankly, Fantasy Flight have a very good video out which really explains the rules. This is going to be more about just the components of the game. As you can see, this is a full-color rulebook with lots and lots of diagrams. Very easy to follow, very easy to understand. It's 28 pages, but don't let that discourage you. The rules are really pretty straightforward. And in fact, like I said, if you watch that video one time through, it's about 12 minutes or so, I think you'll have a solid understanding of the rulebook. Now, it does come with a quick start rules guide, but I found that was pretty lacking, so I would just skip that. I would just watch that video, read through the rulebook once, and you should be good to go. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got these 4 sheets of double-sided printing cardstock with all the game components you punch out. They're very thick. They feel like they could withstand a little bit of damage, and the graphic design is very good. Now, as I mentioned, they are 2-sided, and in some cases that makes a pretty big difference, which I will show you here in just a second. Right here you see the movement dials for 2 TIE fighters and the X-Wing that's included, and if you notice, if you look carefully, the X-Wing does have a slightly different set of maneuvers he can perform. The TIEs are, of course, a little bit more nimble. Here's just a quick shot of the rest of the box contents, and just in a second I'm going to show you how you assemble those turn dials so you can kind of get the idea for them. So included are these 4 little bracket pieces, and they do give you an extra one in case you hand one and break it. But what you basically do is make this maneuver wheel, and then you choose the maneuver of the ship, and then you flip that upside down behind the ship, which is a great little mechanic. It's similar to Wings of War if you remember the way you had to draw cards. I like this one a lot better. The Rebel ones are color-coded red, while the Empire ones are sort of that grayish blue, so you don't get them mixed up on the battlefield. Okay, you also get this deck of small cards. Now, the small cards represent 2 different things. They represent your ship upgrades, and then there's also a pretty large damage deck. Now, the damage deck is double-sided. I should have showed you the front side, but I did not, sorry. And the front side has special effects that affect things like your ship, your crew, your weapon, or what have you. They're critical hits. And then as you can see here, there's a large deck of different pilots. So you have different pilots capable of flying the ships, and these cards show you, who's doing what. And as you can see, the core rulebook does come with 4 for the Rebels, and I don't know, was that 7 or 8 for the Imperials? Some of them are duplicates, or especially some of the unnamed ones. For example, like Red Squadron Pilot. I think there's only 1 of those for the Rebels. But anyways, as you see here, here's one of the plastic bases. And these little cardboard pieces are also double-sided, and they correspond to one of the cards. So they represent your different pilots. Again, there's both generic and named pilots. And they fit very nicely on that little plastic base, and they do have a particular way they need to point. And there's a little arrow on the plastic base, if you didn't see it, that shows you where that front firing arc needs to be. Similarly, these are the little pegs that hold up the ship, and they are slotted, so be really careful when you're putting them together. They go together a particular way. They're notched, and if you put them together incorrectly, you can kind of force one and break one. Now, I almost did that before I realized, stupid me, that they are slotted like that. There you can see a good shot of the pre-painted minis. There's the TIE fighter, and all 3 of the ships have a plastic piece on the bottom that receives one of those connector rods so it can fit to the stand. And there you see a TIE fully assembled. Again, be careful, but those slots are very useful because they make sure your ship is always facing directly forward. And here we see all 3 of the ships assembled. I think they're really nicely pre-painted. I mean, actually, I was surprised at how good they are right out of the box. Okay, these are ID collars, or tokens, and they fit nicely in the slots. And you don't have to use these, but especially if you're using a lot of the generic pilots, it's good to just be able to see. As you see there, I have 2 Black Squadron pilots, and so that you can tell them apart on the board, they give you 3 of each number. So you leave 1 with the card, and then put 2 on the ship itself. These are your maneuver templates, basically, and they fit snugly on these little notches on the front of the movement bases. So when you set your maneuver dial, you follow what those are. These are lock-on tokens. You should see matching blue and red, and I think I'll show you an example here coming up, where you basically know the X-Wing is locked onto that TIE Fighter. Now, some ships can perform locks, some can't. The basic TIE Fighter cannot, but the TIE Advance, if you get the expansion, can. And of course, that just gives you a bonus to shooting at your target. These are other maneuvers and actions your pilots can perform. One on the left is a focus, the one on the right is, I forget what it's actually called, but it basically lets you negate one of your incoming shots. These are shield tokens on the top left, critical hit token on the bottom right, and a stress token on the right. Now the stress token is when your ship does something that's a little out of character for it, like an X-Wing really pushing it to the limit. These are mission tokens. You get 6 asteroids, some satellites. Those things in the bottom right are sort of counter tokens, and then you get a Senator shuttle in the top. And then you get 3 attack dice, 3 defense dice, and a range tool. And the range tool is very cleverly printed on both sides. One shot is red and the other is green. So make sure you're using them appropriately or your dice will probably hate you. I mean, you can't have the rebels shooting green shots, am I right? Alright, so all in all, I think it's a very good value for the box set. Now, the box set game, the core set, it doesn't really have enough for the epic grand space battles you want, so I actually bought 2 of the core sets because it's a pretty good deal to get 2 X-Wings and 4 TIE Fighters, plus you get all the extra fixins, you know, all the extra movement dials and dice and stuff. But then I also went ahead and bought the one-off blisters. I bought 1 of each. So the game can get a little bit pricey, but boy, it's just a ton of fun. We're really enjoying it. So please come around, check out the forums, and talk with some of the other guys who are playing the game with us. You can find us at forum.wwpd.net. And we look forward to having you. Thanks.